Today, I would like to talk about security challenges faced by the Yoon Suk-yeol administration and the role of the U.S. ROK alliance for a free and unified Korea. The security and diplomacy policy of the Moon administration went through a cycle of ups and downs over the past 5 years. The denuclearization and peace policy is the main characteristic of the policy, and I think it contributed a lot to preventing wars. Plus, with the annual increase of 6.5% of the military spending, Korea became the world's top 5 countries in terms of military power. However, since we were too focused on the inter-Korean relations, we failed to read the international trends. And actually, the improvement of the inter-Korean relations proved impossible without the support from the US and Japan. And another thing that's important has to do with the US ROK alliance. In the last summit, we reached an important agreement. Actually, there was a restriction on the range of the missile to 800 kilometers. However, such restrictions were lifted, enabling us to develop our own missiles. Plus, the cooperation would be expanded to cyberspace and aerospace thanks to the agreement. Plus, cooperation on state-of-the-art technologies was one of the achievements of the summit. The Biden administration is trying to build a global order by working with its allies, unlike the President Trump. So the so-called mini multilateralism, as well as the free international order based on the rule of law, are the key characteristics of his policy. Reshaping the global supply chain is another trend that we are witnessing. When you look at the US ROK relationship, actually, the US makes it clear that the strengthened US forces in Korea will be stationed in the country going forward, and it is trying to build a strategy. To be sure, the US ROK alliance should be able to prevent war, and when the deterrence fails, it should be able to be prepared for even a space war and cyber war, not just war in land, air, and the sea. However, what's important is that the end state of the US ROK alliance is a unified and free Korea. What about the North Korea's issue? In June 2018, after the US DPRK summit, President Trump declared that the US ROK combined military exercises where the strategic assets are deployed would be suspended. And since then, small-sized military exercises were carried out, including simulation war games. However, this has caused a lot of problems. North Korea is accelerating and escalating its nuclear and missile capabilities, and in times of war, it even threatens to use its tactical nuclear weapons. Then I think we need to clearly understand why North Korea is escalating its nuclear capabilities. It is not because it is trying to fight the US. I think the fundamental reason behind its nuclear program should be clearly recognized by us. And in 2018, the US and the ROK agreed on the guiding principles, which said that the post-OPCON transition combined forces command would be established where the ROK appoints a general to serve as the commander and the US appoints a general as the deputy to the commander. This is very significant because the US, with the world's biggest military power, would be under the operational control of the Korean forces. This shows the respect and trust of the US in the Korean forces. And the Korean forces need to develop their own strategies and tactics preemptively. And to that end, the military exercises are really important. Military exercises are really important for forces. Actually, the military exercises are not just for the war. It just indicates that in times of war, we can defend ourselves against North Korea. That is why military exercises are really critical. At the moment, the combined command post training is underway. To be sure, an aircraft carrier strike group is deployed in East Sea. However, B-52, B-1st, or other strategic bombers or stealth aircraft and other strategic assets, when those assets are deployed, then extended deterrence can be exercised, deterring North Korea from attacking South Korea. So we need to understand the true value of that extended deterrence. So without showing any military power, with no signs of military power, if we are attacked by North Korea, we cannot respond properly if we are not prepared in advance. That is why extended deterrence is critical. Actually, the war in Ukraine has a lot of implications for us because we also suffered a similar war 70 years ago. To prevent such a war, we need a strong force. The war in Ukraine cost tens of thousands of people's lives, and the residents there say that if you want peace, you need to prepare for a war. I think after the war in Ukraine, there would be huge ripple effects on the international order. The world would be divided between the US-led democratic order and the China and Russia-led authoritarianism. And China and North Korea might find the war in Ukraine very interesting because China might be able to invade Taiwan, and actually the war in Ukraine might embolden China to take such action. Also, the war in Ukraine shows that the influence of the US is limited. I don't think North Korea has an intention to achieve a peaceful unification. I think development of nuclear and missile weapons shows North Korea's intention to unify Korea with its military force. Therefore, I believe we need to face up to the reality of the nuclear programs clearly and respond. But even in this situation, we need to continue the U.S. ROK alliance, which can contribute to a peaceful and unified Korea. Rather than being emotional about the alliance, rather than being emotional about the inter-Korean relations, we need negotiations. And we need to find a breakthrough. And such a breakthrough can be made in a platform where we can discuss denuclearization issues and nuclear issues. And in such a platform, we need to be able to pursue a comprehensive approach to align the peace process on the Korean Peninsula with the denuclearization. And when pursuing such a comprehensive strategy, we shouldn't regard the North Korean issue as solely a Korean issue or the US issue. Rather, the US, South Korea, North Korea, and South Korea should be the players in the negotiating tables. There might be several options for denuclearization, but if North Korea keeps us on its nuclear weapons, then we need to normalize our relations with the North, and the US DPRK relations should be normalized. And if the nuclear weapon is scrapped progressively, then a peace agreement can be signed and a lot of support and aid for North Korea can be provided. So we need a platform to discuss such issues. Lastly, I would like to emphasize that we need to upgrade our security cooperation. For starters, the U.S. ROK alliance looks solid at the moment, but it is not as solid as we think. So I would like to make a suggestion. Today we have an ambassador, the U.S. ambassador to South Korea, I think, who is representing the State Department in South Korea. I think we need a 2+2 meeting with the U.S. commander and the U.S. ambassador to Korea with our national defense minister and foreign affairs minister. Plus, we need to send experts in national defense, security, and trade who can discuss the issues related to the US and South Korea so that the US ROK alliance can be deepened. The US ROK alliance played a critical role in our democratization as well as industrialization and globalization of the Korean culture. For unification, I believe this alliance can play a critical role as well.